everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Ordinary show. I'm your special host for today, Zoe Davenport. I'm very excited to dive in deep today with our special guest. You may have heard of him, John Burgos of Beyond the Ordinary show. And John asked me to be a host today to interview him for a change, which is really beautiful because we don't always get those opportunities to be interviewed for what we have created. And I'm going to read a little bit of John's bio because I know it's been updated recently, and it's always good to have like a fresh interpretation of who this special being is that we have in the space today. So he's known widely as a leader in the human potential field, a teacher and speaker who thrives when collaborating with provocative spiritual leaders, bringing light to the shared power of the awakened collective consciousness. His core is to be of service, to lead as he learns, and to share his embodied experiences in the name of love. He is here to bring you back to your soul's wisdom, bridging the gap between the mind and heart, and bringing light information that was kept in the dark. And I know John personally for the last 4 years, and I can tell you that he is somebody that talks his talk and walks his walk. And it's such a pleasure to have him being interviewed on his own show today. And I know he's got some amazing things to share with us when it comes to spiritual resurrection. He's got an incredible special offer to gift you all. There'll be time for questions and answers. And so, John, welcome to Beyond the Ordinary show.
It's so great to be here and to be invited. This is so much fun, and I'm so glad. I can't think of a better person to do this than you with our connection. And I knew when we started season 25 that I wanted to run a call where I'd be leading it. And I thought I was going to run typically how I do the membership and get into transmission mode and share, but I really felt that there was another communication that wanted to come through. And so I was really grateful that you said yes, and that I have this opportunity to share on my own show, on this our own show, in this way. So thank you, and thank you for allowing me this time.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what is new? What do you want to dive into today? What do you have to share with us? I'm excited.
Oh my God, what is new? There's what isn't new for all of us, except the anxiety and some of the anxiousness and some of those denser energies that somehow are coming up more deeply than they ever have before because they're ready to transcend. But they're also coming up as a response to the newness that's occurring. They're also coming up because we're stepping into territory that we've never navigated before. And we've talked about this on several shows and several interviews with different speakers. And the message is so congruent from speaker to speaker to speaker to speaker about this new phase of our evolution. And so our body catching up through the nervous system and how we respond, not being able to look at the past because the past doesn't define us anymore. Even our trauma is being redefined. And that trauma response still lives in our system because we're going somewhere that we don't know. We're in the dark. And so we fear some of the old, but we really are as anxious about the future and recreating ourselves, because that's where we're being called upon. We're no longer here to save people. We're no longer here to try to fit in or to acclimate into a place where we're not authentically ourselves. And so again, the body, the embodiment part, how the hormonal response system interacts with the energetics that are coming in and unfolding into the new. That's what's new.
I love that. And have you found kind of like in your personal experience, like more of a desire and almost like a necessity to pay more attention to the physical body as we're kind of experiencing these deeper waves of, as you call it, like density, more clearing, more up leveling? I know for me, I've experienced just a real focus on the body, on cleansing and working out and moving as much as I can to kind of just keep moving through the energy.
Yeah, it's been a big movement into embodiments, and we've really started talking on the show about embodiments, and it came up very strongly for me probably a couple of years ago, and I felt that process really coming in. So where we're so used to reaching out to receive information, to connect with our guides, to connect to our intuition, even to connect to our higher self outside of ourselves. And so the embodiment phase had to come in, and we really had to be with that. And we had to nurture and pay attention to our physicality in ways that perhaps we were bypassing. They talked about spiritual bypassing, but we were physically bypassing our body's intelligence. So spiritual bypassing one thing, but how about this physical thing? What are we ignoring? What are we eating that we're not supposed to be eating? What's our body telling us that we're overriding? What's our body craving that is an intelligence that's leading us to another awareness? And so that process became very integrated in my personal journey. And so I started exploring, and I turned 54 this year. So even with that, it's like it's the urge to really get into vitality and to take care of my physicality and to keep my brain and my physical body young, because it doesn't have to age in the way that my parents' bodies aged or in the way I see other people's bodies aging. Um, and so again, it's a process of developing an even deeper, more intimate relationship with our body that we had ignored for a long time. So that phase came in very strongly. And what I'm finding is new now in the energetics, in my personal experience, and when I'm witnessing in the collective as well, is that we've done so much of the embodiment phase that there's several things that are happening with that. First of all, we've integrated our intuition, our connection with our guides. We carry it within. And so that awareness and how we communicate to this energy that wants to support us has become so integrated that we're not having the peak experiences that we were having before. That made it so fantastical, that made it so much fun to be in this. It's like, wow, I had this experience. I don't know who's going to believe me, who I can talk to about it, but I'm having this personal experience. And so as we've normalized that, and wait for that term normalized to come up again a little bit later in the call, as we've normalized that within ourselves, the stimulus, it's like, well, where do we find that now? It's almost felt like we've lost it
Mm.
because it's not such the peak high. It's not like we've taken the pill and it took us somewhere. It's the pill that's inside of us, if you will, if you want to use that example. Um, and so we've gone into that, and our body's intelligence with that has increased dramatically. So our body is an intuitive vehicle, has grown exponentially. So we have to take care of it physically. We have to do the 3D thing to live in the 5D and beyond so that the physical body can go along with us, because nothing gets left behind. And that's wonderful. We've been deeply ingrained in that, I believe, for the last 2 to 3 years, deeply. All of us on the spiritual path really going out and talking about light language and solar flares and connecting with our angelic guides and connecting with the galactics that are here to help us as we're all ascending and expanding is wonderful. But it's all in here. It's all within this space, and it's all also in the awareness of the etheric intelligence, our etheric body that we carry as well. But what affects this little thin line here affects everything that gets expanded from it as well. And that's what we radiate. So we're the wholeness of our etheric field, which includes our physical body. What's happened now as we've integrated, and we've integrated enough to master enough to be even more empathic with our physical body, to feel those little nuances. When something's even a little bit off, the body's going to respond. It just does. Intelligence is going to snap you into place when you get tired, lethargic, get a headache, start craving sugars. Maybe your candida starts coming up again. Maybe your adrenals start running, your cortisol starts going crazy. Even with a little of provocation, because we're being so called into authenticity and integrity with what we've been asking for, which is this pathway to live into 5D and beyond. And to live there, you can't carry anything that's not integrity with it. If it's not a resonant match, it can't go. So your body's going to keep telling you that that's happening. And so a lot of what we've experienced in this gift of COVID and a pandemic, if you will, was getting even more in tune with our body and with the emotional responses, the sympathetic nervous system that is evolving and acclimating to more of the parasympathetic response and deciphering when we're off. So it's beautiful there. But the stage that I feel that we're strongly in now, and it just, for me, it started not that long ago, but it's this revival of our spirituality, or where we've come back into our body for such a long time and we have acclimated, we have integrated, we have become that we've been seeking out to, coming back and now meeting those guides, that intelligence, the cosmic intelligence and wisdom that's coming for us all, and meeting that from a place of side by side, but meeting it, because during the embodiment process, it may have felt like we were abandoned by it. And so we stayed on our own. It may have felt that we got distracted by it, and rightfully so, because we had to learn to be in this physical vessel. But regardless of whatever the reason was, there's a reconnection calling us back into spiritual practice, back into the communication with those guides, back into the communication with our higher self, our inner child, to the galactics, whoever that may be. And also with an awareness that maybe with your guides that were coming in, there could be a changing of the guard that came in because you have evolved. Then you have a new sets of guides. Maybe you have one or two that are permanent always, maybe not. Maybe they're churning because of where you are now. So as far as the newness of what's happening in the energetics that I'm aware of right now, we're going through this massive shift of new. That's why so many of us are wondering, what's next? What's changing? I feel something changing. I don't know quite what it is yet, but something's calling. It's a lot of that integration that's happening, a lot of the shift in how we're vibrationally meeting, again, those energies, the benevolence that's here to support us and love us into our next phase of being. And again, getting back into our old practices, but also upgrading our practices also, because they want to evolve as we move forward also, because we're not the same beings that we used to be, and we will never go back to that.
I feel like you've just described like so much over the last kind of year or so. And it's a conversation I have quite often with people where they go through these experiences, and I experienced it as well, where it's almost like you feel cut off, like source has cut you off from, the connection. And it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Like, am I back in density, but I don't feel it? I feel lighter than I ever have. What's happening? And the deeper integration of wanting to be here in the physical vessel, wanting to be in the body, embodied in the body. And it's like, it's come full circle again now. I had a session today, and speaking into what you were sharing, when I saw into the quantum, I was shown this little tree that she was growing, which was her intention. And there was a pair of empty shoes that were in the dirt, but there were no feet attached to the shoes. And when I was looking at her, she was kind of off in the cosmos somewhere. And her desire was to strengthen her intuition. And so in the visualization, I was shown to bring her, like, visualize yourself coming back, putting your feet in the shoes and having your feet almost kind of buried in the earth. And those are your roots, the foundations. And you can grow up and still have that connection, but it will be through the heart space. And it always surprises me when there isn't more talked about the physical body when it comes to awakening. And I have a question for you, because I know you're going to answer this very eloquently. There is a lot that happens when it comes to this journey that, obviously we're moving through such massive physical changes from carbon to crystalline. And there's a lot of freak, unexplainable experiences that people have that I feel quite often are kind of just categorized as ascension symptoms, but not actually looked at. And I'd love you to dive into that piece a bit deeper, because I know that a lot of people listening would benefit from hearing your perspective.
As far as the ascension symptoms are concerned and having these weird experiences,
The weird experiences, brushing it off, maybe not paying attention to it.
I've had personal experiences with it, and some that affected people that I love tremendously. The ascension symptoms are real. The solar flares, the solar activity that we had in May, so many people feeling exhausted, headaches, confused. And you look at NASA's report of the energy that was being shot towards Earth because the sun was going through this combustion. There's so much scientific proof behind what we've been talking about for such a long time about what these causes and what they're doing for the shift of Earth and for humanity, for us as individuals. So know that you're not crazy when all of a sudden you're just exhausted all the time and you have headaches and you need to sleep and you go into dreams or you're not dreaming at all. The symptoms are real. If you need to lay down for 3 days after you had a massage session or after you went for a walk in nature, that's you also calibrating to Gaia and the frequency that she's up leveling to also. So we're all like turning into a different dial on the station that has a better, clearer reception, but we're working on our wiring along the way as we adjust to become those pillars, those towers that can receive the information. I also have to say, from my personal experience, both for myself and because I had someone that I love dearly, for mine, I was going through a lot of changes as well, but it got to a point that the ascension symptoms were a little too much, and I sought medical attention. And I was fortunate enough to find someone that can really go deeper than the regular blood tests to point out why these things were happening for me. So always, always when you're having these recurrent symptoms happening, get it checked out. Get it checked out. And if y'all want the recommendation for the doctor that I used, he's in Southern California, or Northern California, does things over Zoom calls, and he's extraordinary. But there's many extraordinary naturopaths, medical doctors, and I think they're all necessary. I don't think Western medicine is horrible. I think there's miracles in everything, and everything shows up for us right when we need it, when we ask for it. So if it's chemotherapy because that's what it is, or if it's not because it's poisonous for your body, you'll know. Don't judge someone else for going down a particular route because you don't know what their soul's journey is or what their particular circumstances. And don't think you have to be a victim of an institutionalized model that doesn't serve you, because there's so many new options available. So follow your intuition in that. Really follow it and seek guidance that isn't invested in making themselves feel better because they feel bad that you're feeling bad, if that makes sense too. I was in a relationship, God, I don't know how long ago it was now, time. Some of y'all know about this relationship. I was living in Santa Barbara, and she's a spiritual teacher, coach, amazing being, and she started developing these bumps in her head. And it's like, wow, like I feel amazing. And I'm seeing these colors I never saw. I'm having amazing ascension symptoms. I'm evolving so fast and became like this game. Like it almost became like this spiritual arrogance a little bit. I hope y'all are listening to Lover, but it's the way that it was coming up is like, look how it's anyway, regardless of that. And so it wasn't getting checked out. It's like, you need to get that checked out. It's like, that's just not normal. Then little bumps started appearing in her body. She'd go to the dermatologist. Oh, it's a little fatty deposit. It's nothing. Then she started getting something in her neck and started hurting her so bad and hurting so bad that she finally had her in tears, that she finally had to get it checked out. And it wound up being a tumor that was also in her head, that was also in her arm, that really spread all throughout her body. And so it's important as things keep recurring, even during this ascension time and as the solar flares come in. If there's something that's prolonged and keeps coming out, to seek medical attention. And we're here to be supported in so many different ways. And so, but don't get over stressed out at some of the symptoms, because a lot of what comes up also is the judgment. Oh, I'm being lazy, or I'm supposed to be doing this, or people are going to think this, or I'm no fun anymore, or I don't have a life, or I'm sick all the time, or it's not about judging yourself. It's really about asking the question. And a lot of y'all that know me, I say this all the time. It's like, all this is happening for you. All this is happening for your personal evolution. It's the relationship we have with what comes up that dictates how the journey unfolds. So if you can approach it with like, well, okay, this is coming up. How is this happening for me? How can I be with this? Instead of warring against it, fighting against it. And if you look at our culture, our civilization, from the beginning of mankind, there's never been a war that's ended a war. And if everything's a fractal, if you war within your body, you're not going to win that war. And so we have to come with a different approach on how to have a relationship with what's showing up for us, and be in relationship for the intelligence that's evolving from that, because it's wanting us to evolve. It wants all of us to come into that 5D space and beyond. And so it can be really difficult. And I haven't had some of the illnesses that y'all have had, not even close. But again, learning to have relationship, asking a question, having self-compassion, and journaling with your guides, with your higher self. Asking as your body is in total pain and agony in bed, if that's what you're going through, asking your guides or your higher self, what's happening? What are you trying to share with me that I'm not listening to? And if you don't hear it even, just trust that the answer may come up through synchronicity, through a phone call, through a Zoom call that you're on, that you heard something. It's like, oh my God, that's exactly what I was asking for. The information will show up, but in the innocence of it, rather than the warring of it, it's going to come through clear, more efficiently, and provide you the natural next step that you're meant to take on that path.
I love that. And it's so important to, I'm glad that we're talking about this right now, because it is something that gets missed or overlooked or under talked about in the spiritual communities. And there's almost can be a bit of judgment when it comes to not getting things checked out with ascension symptoms, or kind of almost there's a lightness that one feels having always leaving the body for those slightly more dopamine hit euphoric spiritual experiences. But when we're actually in the body, it's subtle, but it's, for me, it's even more powerful. Like, I'm more powerful in my ability to co-create, to manifest instantly when I'm in my body, when I'm actually incarnated here, and then bringing the wealth and source of information from the cosmos, from my higher self to me. And as you were sharing, like paying attention to the body, like, am I feeling expanded in this conversation? Am I feel contracted? Am I feeling tired? Do I need, I had to sleep this afternoon for 20 minutes. I had to shut my system down to almost like reboot, to be ready for the second half of my experience, and not judging that. And I think something that I wanted to add to what you were sharing is, there's a lot of judgment around the sense of people doing nothing or spending a lot of time doing nothing when it's coming down to moving through that awakening journey. Maybe hours, days, weeks, months. Sometimes for people it can be a couple of years or so, or more, that there doesn't seem to be anything that's being done, but actually everything that we're doing is really deep and internal. And it's the recalibrating. We can't just flip a switch and turn from carbon to crystalline. We've got to go through with a fine tooth comb every single cell in our body to be able to hold more of who we are, hold more of that light. And so everything that you're sharing to add into that, and you know, when you talk about kind of spiritual resurrection, it's coming into alignment with us actually physically, emotionally, energetically wanting to be here for a start in these physical vessels, which comes down to worthiness and self-love. And from that, seeing how that shifts. And I'm sure you can agree with this as well. Like when you look at photos of yourselves, like even from last week to last year to a few years ago, like we're shifting so fast. Like the beings that we were is unrecognizable. Like you look completely different to when I first met you 4 years ago, or even when I started listening to the show. And same for me. It's like so it's like when we don't feel we're shifting, like we are, right? And internally that creates a shift on the external.
Well, we're shifting so fast too, so fast, which causes a lot of rapid change also. So our friendships, our environments, who we resonate with, it's all happening so fast, and people either keeping up with it or not in your life, or the situations are keeping up with you or you're not, your career's keeping up with you or it's not. And so that's where we're going at hyper speed, and our bodies are being redefined in the process. Also, we are recreating on a cellular level. So to just wrap up the medical kind of what I understand of it, also as we're restructuring also the body's integrity and how we feed it, the environments that we put in, all of that. I believe it's the reason why Lyme disease, celiac disease, Hashimoto's, the candida that's coming up, all the adrenal issues, the cortisol issues, the hormonal, if you will, just lump them all together, are coming up in such a hyper way, is because our bodies are adjusting, saying you have to be in integrity with the energy that you're seeking, that you were wired here for, that you came here for. So those types of diseases are saying you can't eat this way anymore. You have to be vigilant in certain ways, or in integrity, not vigilant, in integrity with what will support the physicality and the light that you're here to emit. And these autoimmune diseases, I believe, part of the ascension, and not to downplay it by any means, and they require medical attention, and they require compassion and supplementation and the right type of treatment, 100%. But I also believe that there's truth in that, the body's adjusting and saying that we really have to choose what's in integrity, the light beings that we're choosing to be, and that those type of diseases are keeping us away from putting things in our bodies or being in environments that don't support the light from expanding in the way that it's meant to at this time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's all we have is now, all we have is this moment. And if our bodies are going through something, that's like the top priority.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the old paradigm, the old way of doing is, you know, working until we're sick, working till we can't work anymore, or keeping going even when we're sick, or things are coming up, or ignoring things, brushing off as ascension symptoms, when maybe, yes, it is, but it's all energy. It just needs more of a deeper understanding. And, you know, we literally, we're not ascending, whatever that means anymore. We're not moving through this without the body. Body's coming with us.
It's oneness, and the body comes with us. It's also a fractal on how all of us is coming through. And so that's also a mirror for what's happened collectively, where we're becoming even more empathic, not only with ourselves, but with everybody else around us. We're having collective thoughts more than we ever have. We're getting psychic hits. We're getting depressed for no reason, but it's really not no reason. It's because someone in China is going through severe depression. We're having anxiety. It's like, how is this coming up? I don't understand. This came out of nowhere. And we're going through, it's like, okay, ascension symptoms. Yes, ascension symptoms, but also is your compassion and empathy expanding in ways that it hadn't communicated before. And we're connecting to one another in ways, because we understand that if someone else is suffering, that we'll suffer also. And if we're suffering, someone else is suffering. We just can't avoid that anymore. And that's how we're getting into a place of balance and equity within our human existence. And that's how this new earth is being created, because we won't be able to do things to each other that we were viciously capable to do before. Once you're capable of this level of feeling, it just can't exist. You can't destroy in that way. We can't destroy our earth. We can't destroy the animals, the plants, or each other. And so creative solutions emerge when we merge with one another and we collaborate. The intelligence that comes forward is so much more than us doing things solo in survival mode and hoarding. No, we're expanding, and again, all this is happening for us, and we've been asking for this. Saying, bring it to us. This is what we want. We want to feel connected. We want this time to come. We want to be telepathic. We want this. Well, guess what telepathic means? You're going to pick up on somebody else's pain sometimes and their joy. Being empathic, being able to be psychic and to channel, you may not want to hear some of the things that are being channeled if it's not all Shangri-La, but it is all love. It is all love. And if we can understand that it's love, and that's where it's leading us to, and that compassionate love is allowing us again to release those densities that have been such a heavy weight for us for so long, and we just can't do it anymore. But that time of suffering, of living on the crucifix, if you grew up at any time of Catholic or Christian or whatever you want to call it, and suffering for others, doesn't serve anymore. We have to start of ourselves, and we understand that ourselves is also part of the whole. And by that, what we do for ourselves, we do for the whole.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it can be so hard to forget when the mind is focused on the 3D lens of reality. Whereas when we kind of zoom out and remember the 5D lens, 6D lens, 7D and beyond, and see the unity and see the macro is really the micro and the micro is really the macro, right? And so as we continue to move through that, what we're not enjoying seeing on the external reality as we integrate that and come into a deeper awareness and resolution within ourselves, there's so much more energy that we have. Like, people think I'm crazy. They're like, how can you wake up so early? Like, why would you do that? And because I have so much to share and so much energy that it doesn't matter if I go to bed later. Like, feel so good within my inner being that I have, my cup is over full to then share.
Right.
And then when it's not, I go off. I turn the phone off, the laptop gets shut down, I reschedule if I need to. And I think sometimes, like, I see this with people, is they want to help and serve humanity so much, like their heart to like really just care so deeply, yet they're exhausted and their bodies need some love and some rest and some nourishment. And then from that space, it's like we can bend time. We can do so much more for humanity when we can do more for ourselves that's in alignment with what our bodies need from us, as opposed to that old system, as you were sharing, right? Of, you know, putting ourselves on the cross and continuously exhausting ourselves in the service of others. Like, it's part of that old dogmatic patriarchal program that as light beings, we simply cannot reside in that anymore, because we're going to get really sick and very fast. Our bodies will be like, I can't be in those denser frequencies. It's not going to work. I really would love for you to share about your special offer that you have with us today, but I would love if you are guided to answer some questions.
I'd love to answer questions. Absolutely. People want to raise their hands. We'll get into Q&A. And should we go into the special offer first, or should we go into Q&A? You lead. You tell me what you want to do.
I'm guided to answer, because there's a couple of people that have had their hands up for quite a while, and I'm guided to go to them first, and then we can get into your special offer and go back to some more questions. And for those of you as well, you can use the chat as well if you want to ask any questions. And for those of you that raised your hands, I'm going to actually bring you onto the screen for the live version. So first up, we have Barbara. Where is she? I'm just bringing her on now. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring Barbara on also, but for some reason she's not being promoted to a panelist. So I'm not sure
Oh,
what's
that's
happening
strange.
there.
Okay, well, let's go over to Sarah then. Sarah, you have a question for John today?
Hello.
Sarah, hi.
Hello.
It's good to see you.
You too. Somehow my Zoom has switched itself up without my instructions. So I don't have my rainbow up at the moment. John, I wanted to tell you something. I wanted to tell you that I made a contact with someone who was going to be appearing on your show. And it's somebody that I've decided I don't want to work with in the whole original thing, but it brought me to you. And I have purchased sessions with a lot of people. And I have come out of this whole long 15-year thing of healing and just dove in so much. I made it my full-time work. I have listened to all your sessions. I was delighted when you came back. I called a couple of friends. We were very, very concerned when you sent the thing that you were going into your dark night. I don't know what it was about. I don't have to know. I just want you to know that we sent you so much love and blessing for whatever it was. And we're really quite concerned. And I'd gotten my fella to start watching you, and he was also concerned. So we send you lots of love and blessings. But I know that in this time, I have been so much assisted by your work and what you've brought and the other teachers that you have brought on, that I have now arrived at the point where, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and publish that book I wrote 10 years ago. And the path forward seems clear. And I read with Debbie Johnson twice, who brought my mother through to tell me that she had never understood me in life. But from the other side, she sees that my difficult path was sacred and has my full support. It has just been such a blessing. And I'm fascinated by your own work, which I know very little about. So I tuned in today. There's so many questions I could ask, but I need to give you something, if I may. I have offered this to others. They've all accepted and been happy about it. And the only time I asked you, it was in the middle of something else. So may I give you a blessing, please?
I will take a blessing. Is it a short blessing?
It's a short blessing. I respect the time. I respect everybody else's wanting to talk. But I've had other people comment that everybody on the call got something when I did this. So sorry.
Before you start the blessing, can I ask for something?
Yes.
Everybody on the call, if you'll, oh wow, I want to be in receptivity mode. If you'll just close your eyes for a couple of minutes, or 2 minutes max, right?
Definitely.
2 minutes max. It'll be a beautiful meditation, and I'm so receiving. Thank you all for being on Beyond the Ordinary and for enriching my life and for sharing your energies, because we're all growing together. So as I receive, I hope that you receive as well.
And I also had written you an email a long time back because I feel like I'm finally moved into my own work, and I'd wanted to have a chat with you. And I know that at some point I will be spreading my work more and perhaps able to do some.
We'll do that another time. Let's get into the blessing. I've got some other calls I need to take also.
This will be in Hebrew and English.
Beautiful.
Yivarechecha Elohim v'yishmarecha. May love bless you and guard you. Yaher Elohim panav elecha v'chunecha. May the divine spirit arise in you and be gracious to you. Yisa Elohim panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May holiness and love always surround you, and bring you peace. May you, going through everything you have, may everything you've gone through bring you to where you want to be, to bring you to the highest pinnacle, the highest mountaintop, with the sun shining on your face and the faces of everyone who is listening. May all the good work you do in the world to bring joy and contact with spirituality and the connection that we need with the divine to feel joy, to feel alive, to feel happy to be on this earth, to fulfill our life path, to fulfill our mission, to bring all the good works we want to do to such an exultant place that every good thing we do, every smile, every eye we contact, the blessings come back to us 100,000 millionth, trillionth times multiplied. And may you walk in light and feel guided and loved and held in the palm of the divine every moment until you feel that you live in heaven on earth.
Oh, thank you so
Oh, I
much. That was
feel
beautiful.
that.
Oh,
What a gift. Thank you so much. Wow.
mm,
Y'all feel that also? So beautiful. So much love in that. And I receive your love, and may it expand a trillion times from my heart into this world and into the universe. Thank you for your blessing.
All over. Thank you so much.
thank you, Sarah. So much love to you. Beautiful. Okay, so let's move over to Eileen. Eileen, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi, do you have a video?
I thought I did. Where?
I know Eileen has video. There she is.
Yes.
There we go.
Here I am. I had to be with both of you at the same time. Oh my, what a way to start. But I just have something short to tell John, that he knows that I had some experiences last year with snakes, one of whom was inside my house. And it was quite an experience, and I wrote about it. Well, yesterday, I was walking outside to my vegetable garden, and there was the skin from a snake laying there. And I thought, am I seeing snakes again? Because that had gone. They brought a message and they never came back. And then I realized I didn't see a snake. I saw what he had gotten rid of. And I felt that that was what I was continuing to do more of. And it's just amazing. I've been going through, we had talked about that, John, a lot of the exhaustion and the bounding back and forth from the energy to the exhaustion. But after seeing that and having that realization, and then today, I came inside after taking off a lot of spent blooms from my gardenia bush, because I just had to be outside, and came in and decided I didn't want to cook. And I just had some celery and apple and hummus, and it felt so good. And I looked around the room and I realized everything was so much lighter and easier, and just not in a knock your socks off way, but just in a really gentle, nice way. So it's good.
Oh, it's beautiful, Eileen. It's Eileen and I are friends. You have such a
Eileen
special place
too.
in my heart. So amazing. So the shedding of the skin, definitely. It's energy that's shifting for you as you're aligning with things. And again, we've all gone through, we've gone into touching this other plane of existence, but then coming back into 3D.
Yeah.
And so the body adjusting to that, and wait, I'm 3D actually. Hold on a second. Where it's like, where's that part that was like starting to step into that place? Well, it's there. It's acclimating, and again, it's bringing the rest of these aspects through, but it's confusing. In the meantime, it's not that we're adjusting to altitude, it's that we're bringing these other pieces along with us, and they're dragging, but they're coming. And again, we got put into a circumstance that really accelerated this process by having us go deep through COVID, by being locked in, by being forced to be in a place where we had to be more contemplative with ourselves, or be in a place where we were in also a wave of consciousness of the collective that was very erratic, and merging all that. So our body's response, our thinking, our feeling, perhaps subconsciously, that we've been abandoned by this realm that we dipped our toes in. Because really, we're just barely dipping our toes in. It's amazing. I want to swim in that pool and so much more, but we're dipping our
Yeah.
toes. And that's what we've been doing through what we call these peak mystical experiences. It's us getting to know the quintessence of what we call source or God in this very microcosmic way. And there's so much more. So we're acclimating, we're adjusting, our body's coming in, the anxiety's coming through, and we're being shown signs that we're making progress. The snakes comes through in its state, it sheds its skin, light starts coming in, you start feeling lighter. It's beautiful. And allow that to continue to happen. And for you, Eileen, it's a lot, let go. And for everybody, every night before you go to bed, simple mantra. It's so simple and it's so powerful. And feel it in your heart. Actually merge your mind with your heart. Bring your mind in and bring it to the mind that sees the witness. And then allow that witness to merge with your heart. And then, before you go to bed every night, repeat these words. I let go of everything and everybody. I let go of everything and everybody. And y'all do it right now and see if you don't feel even just a tad lighter by just doing that. And so the anxiety of holding other people, of worrying about other people, of taking on their energy, even if we don't know that we've taken it on, of not returning that call, of returning too many phone calls, of whatever it is. I like watching the news, not watching the news, being on social, not being on social. We are so affected by so much that we need to clear our space. So I let go of everything and everybody. Your love always remains. We've had this conversation. Your love once given only gets exponential. That never dies. And once it's given, it can never be taken away. For all these other things that we hook on to each other with, or cord to each other with, that aren't really ours, and we're preventing other souls from maybe progressing at the speed that they can because we have a judgment of the way that we think their lives should look like or be like, or their suffering or happiness should look like or be like. I let go of everything and everybody, and we trust and have faith that they are being taken care of by that same benevolent source that we reach out to through our guides, that they have access just as much as we do. And that the love, the support, the synchronicities will show up just like that snake showed up for you, to guide you in awareness and wisdom, and to let you know that you're on the right path. Yeah, thank you so much, Eileen. You're so wonderful. I love you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Eileen. It's so good to see you.
See you, Zoe.
Yeah.
Fun.
Aw, beautiful. John, thank you so much for diving into that deeper. I'm receiving so much from interviewing you. This is beautiful.
I wish more people would raise their hands because this is fun for me. But if y'all don't want to, that's cool.
No, it's all good. Everyone's just chilling. They're just being activated through the conversation.
Let's see what Caroline has to say. I see her on here. I just promoted her to a panelist because I could. Can we take Caroline's call?
This is my show, John. This is my show. Let's take one more caller and then we'll get into the special offer. Caroline, would you like to unmute yourself?
And Caroline, I'd love to see you also. There's your video. Hi.
Hi. Well, I was wondering whether I should actually, dare to ask a question. Since nobody else was wanting, I thought, well, I might as well.
Awesome.
Because my issue is, my biggest real issue at the moment really is how is money. I'm nearly 70. I still work. I don't have a pension that covers the costs of living. I find it very much harder to motivate myself these days because my body doesn't want to work, and the only way I've ever really known how to make money is to work hard. And my guidance has been that I was actually thinking that I was done here. And just earlier this year, I was told I had a choice and I could leave if I wanted because I was the first wave volunteer and that mission was done. But if I wanted, I could stay and there was more interesting work to do.
Awesome. You
So
stayed.
I stayed, but I really am at a complete, I don't know what the solution is. You know, I'm getting older. My body can't work as hard. That's just a simple fact. So how, if I'm going to be staying here for however much longer, which I'm quite happy about, but how practically, you know, I mean, what, I feel like I'm missing a piece here. What am I going to do to make a living?
So many of us are missing pieces. It seems like we're missing pieces as we step into this new, because again, we're not defined by who we used to be, even last week, even 2 days ago. We're really not. And so it's like, well, if I'm not that, then what am I? And then what does that mean for how I've created the stabilization in my life? Even if the stabilization was wonky or wobbly or wasn't completely safe and secure and had us struggling to maintain it, at least we knew it. It was an enemy that we knew and we knew how to contend with. So it's like, okay, I can play this game. But the game's being redefined. And you deciding, you saying yes to staying here, there's a part of you that already knows what it doesn't know. But your journey is to be in the not knowing of it. And I've shared this on the membership, and we'll get later into the special offer because it includes the membership. But that's where the real journey begins. You're not on a journey, on the new journey, until you get to the place where you don't know. Because if you know it, it's not a journey. You're just repeating a cycle.
Right. Absolutely. That is really true.
And I haven't answered your financial question yet, but I wanted to give you that perspective and that awareness to bring faith and hope back to you. Because that's really, those ingredients are so necessary right now, for all of us, because we're languishing. It's like, okay, we weathered this thing. We said, yes, we're going to hold on to it. We've gone through ascension. We've gone through this convergence. We're in unity consciousness more than we ever have. And we're freaking tired. I'm tired. And if you want to take me tomorrow, take me tomorrow. And then a part of me is like, hell no, it's just starting to get good. Right? That's why you decided to stay.
Well, I can never say no to an adventure.
Right? Me too. I'm the same way. It's like, what, there's more?
No to an adventure.
But there's more, then yes, I'm on for the ride. So when you say you work hard, what do you do to earn income?
I'm a massage therapist.
Oh yeah, that's hard work, and you're taking on a lot of energy. So how's that shifting? And also extremely intuitive. Very intuitive in your own way, with the body's response. We all have a mastery of intuition that we're starting to acknowledge even more. So part of what's also happening in this emergence of our evolution is that we're truly being called to not bypass our mastery, what we know we can teach and share with love, and to not acquiesce it for the sake of safety or belonging into something else. So these things that you know are what you're going to bring with you. Now, with the amounts of income and the pension that comes in, what are you afraid you're going to lose if your income drops by 50%?
couldn't pay my rent, or else I wouldn't be able to eat, basically.
So you can't pay your rent where you are, but that's not true that you can't pay your rent somewhere else.
Well, I live in Belize. I can't pay much less rent and still live, and have basically a bed to sleep in and a stove to cook on and a fridge to put things in.
Right. So as we go into this awareness, and again, get into, well, this is going to be my survival. If I don't have income, I won't have a roof over my head and I won't be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a core fear. Have you ever had that fear before now, before thinking about pension? Have you ever thought deep down that I'm afraid that I won't have a roof over my head? I'm afraid I won't be able to eat.
Well, I almost was in that situation, actually. I was on the edge about 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
before my pension actually kicked in. And
Right.
my pension pays half my rent right now, which means I can live somewhere that's basically, decent. I mean, I could get a hovel here for much less, but I really don't want to live like that.
That's not the lifestyle you want to live.
I do want a basic lifestyle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We don't want something basic. We're afraid that we're going to have to give something up that's giving us comfort for the sake of something else. And so as you're evolving, what's showing up is, and as we're all evolving, is that we have to let go to even these survival instincts that we have, thinking that we won't be supported, thinking that we have to do things solo, thinking that we have to build in this particular way. And if we don't have this, then we won't be able to live or survive or be here on earth, that I will be killed, is the deep rooted fear. I will die, I will be killed if I don't have this safety mechanism that I've built up showing up in my life consistently. And so we worry about it on a consistent basis, and it runs in the background. You don't even know it. Maybe on the foreground a lot because of your age and because your body, you're tired, it's asking for something else. So what I'd like for you to do is journal what your fears are about not having income, about having to not generate the income that you're generating now, and be with them, be in intimacy with those fears for a little bit, just to acknowledge them, because we're like, a fear came up, I'm going to do something else to get rid of that real quick. And we're being called to really check in with ourselves and to be okay having these fears or these emotions or these anxieties or the depression or the sadness or the anger or the rage or whatever it is, and allow it to live inside of us, even for just a little bit, so we can recognize it, know it, and be compassionate with it. And as you do that, you'll find that your mind starts clearing. You relax more, and there's a trust that starts coming in. It'll even relax your body where you won't feel as tired anymore, because you're not running the subconscious programming, which is going to give you more energy to do a little bit more of the work that you may be required to as you transition into different opportunities. After you write down your fear list and be with it for a little bit, then pretend you're me and let's laugh about those fears a little bit. It's like, wait, hold on a second. I can go live with my sister, or my next door neighbor will take me in for 3 months, or I'm in Belize. I'm going to go pick a mango off the tree, an avocado off of here, and I'll eat. I will not eat. Will I have internet? Maybe not for a week or two, or for 2 months. But I'm trusting this journey. I'm going to let go, and I'm going to let God. I'm going to take what I have now and use that, knowing that more will be given. You said yes to this for a reason. And part of you already knows that something's evolving. You may have a roommate coming in. Are you in a partnership? Are you alone?
No, I'm alone.
You
I
may have a
have to.
partner.
I need to be alone. I learned that many years ago.
Ah,
I can't maintain my path. I can't do my inner work unless I'm alone. It's just I become too scattered.
well, allow yourself to be scattered from time to time. Because that is a belief that is holding you down. It's repressing you.
Yeah.
And there's a fear of being taken off your center if someone were to influence it. So were you made to be wrong when you were a child?
Yes.
Yeah. Feel into that. So if you have someone coming into your life now, if you're in a spiritual practice and they criticize you in whatever way, you're wrong again.
Mm.
And no, we're getting rid of that.
Mm.
No, you have a standard by which you live now that we want to upgrade, not take away from. And I say that you open your heart to meet someone where you are that can accept you and support you in the way that you would accept and support them. We're in the time that you can, that is coming into alignment, but we have to let go of these fears and we have to risk our hearts. If we don't risk our hearts, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be in the loop running. It's going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause your body to swell up. It's going to cause your hormones to go crazy because your body's intelligence is going to say you're off track. You're not listening. You're not risking. You're in new territory. You said yes. All right, we're going and I'm taking you with me. And so this is coming up for you, hun. And to look at it into a different way. So a mantra for you is I'm open to being loved for all who I am. I'm open to being loved for all who I am. And allow that to be your mantra for the next couple of weeks. And I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
I deserve to be supported. I deserve to be supported so that I may do all the things that I love to do. And use those mantras in front of a mirror on a daily basis. And allow your body to re-imprint the old neural pathways that told you that you were wrong for having a belief, or that you were wrong for saying something, or being reprimanded because it wasn't agreeable with someone else. And knowing that it's safe. It's safe if someone doesn't agree with you. And that you've got it now. You're not 6 years old anymore. You've got it, and you really deserve to be met and to be loved and to be held. And spirit's holding you, but the physicality of it and how it can support you as well. I wouldn't be surprised if someone shows up for you.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That was so far from my mind. That was like just not even in the.
Well, I'm whispering it right in your
on the
ear. Zoe, you were going to say something. I feel you coming up with something, and I'm going to put Kathy as a panelist as well.
Yeah, I was just going to share that, you know, when we're coming back into a new way of being on this planet, when we're sharing things that we've had as a story for so long, the deeper learning of that is will be brought then the exact opposite. So when John was sharing about bringing someone in for you, whether it's a partner or companionship, or even opening up to, you know, to like a friend, there's a deep desire in your heart that is actually wanting that, but has perhaps maybe not allowed that for the journey, but you stayed because you wanted to experience love in a different way through connection now. And, you know, you've made it this far, girl. You're not going to be out on the streets. You're going to be all right. Like, you're a divine being. This is all a hologram. None of this is real. This is a simulation. We set the playing field based on our thoughts, our beliefs, and our emotions, and play, you know, play with the frequency of money, play with the belief that you're supported, play with it. Open that up with inside you. And how does that feel? Because you're such a powerful, gifted being that there's more to you than you've let people see. And you want to start seeing yourself now. That's going to really start bringing in, like, your life is, you're in a different timeline. So almost collapse and fold your past into the present moment. and start opening up to what wants to come through for you instead. This is a new timeline, a new experience, a new journey, a new story, a new set of beliefs, a new version of you. And this is the same for everyone. Like, I love how John's been going really deep into these questions, because we can all of us can raise our hand and relate a little piece to what we're all sharing, because we're unity, right?
That's
So, so
Caroline,
John,
thank you so much.
yeah, thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
Thank you. John, I'd love for you to dive into the special offer for a bit, so we can kind of like get into what you're going to be sharing. And then I'd love to go back to a couple of questions.
Let's do that. That'd be great. So the special offer, yes.
So,
I know, I'm so used to this. I'm gonna take over.
Receive, John. I am the host of the On the Ordinary show today. You can just relax. I have everything under control.
Yes,
so for those of you wanting to check out John's special offer, please go to beyondtheordinary.com/John25. And for those of you live on the call, April is going to send the link of the offer into the chat box there as well. So John, tell us about what you have created for Beyond the Ordinary today.
Yeah, so the special offer, and again, the links in the special offer, liminanextraordinary.com, and it's beyondtheordinaryshow.com.
Beyondtheordinaryshow.com.
I know,
/25.
we forget that all the time. It's so it's a show. It's just good it's here. So the special offer, it's been an ongoing membership that we've had for, is it almost 3 years, y'all? Whoever's been on the membership. I know Eileen's been on there for a while. Sherry's on the call today also, that's been on, I forget how long it's been, but it's been ongoing. And I was guided to set it up just because guidance told me I needed to start speaking more, share my experiences that people could really resonate, and that I would grow from it tremendously as well. So for me, whenever we build something, whenever we're in creative mode, that the question is, first of all, is it good for me? Does this really serve me? Why am I doing it? What's coming up? And the answer on that was yes. It was like, all right, is it serving the people that I'm wanting to serve and showing up? It's like, and I got a clear yes on that. And in that awareness, and then helping them, does it help the world? And when those three things line up, I know it's a yes. And there's joy that comes in, and I can feel into what's happening. I know whether 10 people show up or 1,000 people show up into the membership, that it doesn't matter, that it's serving its purpose. And so I had an absolute yes in doing that, and we've been running the membership for quite a while now, and it's been beautiful sharing. I show up on calls typically 3 times a month on live calls. They typically go about 90 minutes. Sometimes they're a little less, very rarely. I typically at least 90 minutes. Sometimes into 2 hours, because we get into Q&A and deep transmissions and processes to share. But we go deep, and we go anywhere where the members want to go also. So there's always Q&A, and I take a lot of Q&A on those calls and go deep with it, because the processes that show up, the energy that gets transmitted, the unification that happens within this particular group, and the consciousness there is just so freaking beautiful. That the calls just wind up being epic on a continuous basis, not for me, but because of the synergy of everything that we're creating together. And of course, through me, and this wisdom that I receive, and these downloads that I get, and my strong need to express that art into a collective for it to be received and expanded upon. So I created Living in the Extraordinary, 2.5 years. Thank you, April. And the special offer is the membership for that. I recently launched a new website, and it's because we're going media centric, because when I talked earlier about normalizing the energies, what I'm also here to do is to normalize these conversations. And so I created a new site, worked with a business consultant that works high level. And we redid so much. You can even see the new website on BTO looks different. JohnBurgos.co. I'm taking private clients, but in a whole different way. But we really created this so that we can have a media platform, so that high level media would come in for me to be interviewed in those outlets, because it's time that we normalize these conversations for more people to receive it. So it's time that we can use words like meditation, that on television you couldn't say that word 10 years ago, or the advertisers would go away, where it's so normal, it's said all the time now, and they talk about spirituality and they talk about being psychic and on regular TV. That was shunned. And it's time that we make these conversations about ascension, about different dimensions, about talking to our guides, about feeling our empathy and expanding on that, more accessible to people, because we all feel and think the same thing, but we all think that we're the only one, and we keep it from each other, and we put ourselves in a closet that somehow we don't know that we have the key to get out. And so again, making this conversation normal, but going deep into what's being shared on a week-by-week basis, through practices that have been downloaded and transmitted directly to me, by practices that I've learned through other speakers, perhaps that have been on the show and we've had private sessions on, through mentorships that I've had, that I take all of my wisdom that I've gained from that and all my investment that I put in there. And I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my personal development, the equivalent of that, easily on that. I've taken what I've had here and reinvested it in my personal growth as well. And this is what I have to show. This is what I own right now. This is what I own right now in the physical plane from the success of Beyond the Ordinary show. And I want to translate this success to as many people as possible. Zoe started with, I walk my walk and talk my talk, and I have to, as best I can, with the integrity that I'm doing it as best I can, and have compassion for myself when I don't, knowing that it's something else that's arising that's wanting to be healed and to be with. And so we hold that type of space and living in the extraordinary. So 3 to 4 calls a month, homework assignments maybe once a month to work into. We tend to be in the flow, and we don't know what's coming in from time to time. So it's not structured. It's not a one size fits all type of workshop. It's really an evolving platform that keeps evolving as we're evolving. And I'm offering that the business consultants, and when we set up the site, they're like, no, you need to start charging more for all the live calls. You need to start, and I agreed with her. And so the membership where everybody was at was $39 a month for this interaction. Again, live calls, homework assignments, all these other things, integrations, community, Facebook groups. And if y'all want to join now, you'll be grandfathered in at that $39 a month. And there's no obligation to continue on a yearly basis or anything else. If anytime you want to cancel, just let us know that you just don't want to be there. That it's just it's time to move on, and it's easily something that there's no hassles with it, other than getting emails. Sometimes getting emails is crazy for so many of us sometimes, because emails don't arrive. But yeah, I want to invite everybody in to be grandfathered in that rate before the rates go up. I keep putting off the launch of the membership again, because I keep wanting to invite y'all in, but really by September, that price is going to go up for that membership for all live access to $79 a month. So at this particular price, you get a lot of me, and it's the next best thing really to having me as a one-on-one coach with you, or a one-on-one guide with you. So I hope you guys join us. And again, some of the people on here on today's call are amazing, and you're going to love being in community with them as well. So I hope you join us, and I hope you take advantage of that. And calls are typically, most of the time, the live calls are at 5 p.m. Monday Pacific time, so PST time, and everything's recorded. You have your own portal membership page that all the recorded sessions are on there. All the homework assignments are on there, so you'll have access to that, and you'll get access going back 2.5 years to the calls and the assignments. And some of those assignments are powerful, and they have shifted lives in the membership without a doubt. So again, I hope you guys can join us in that. And again, $39 a month is what we have it at.
That's beautiful, John. And just going to livingintheextraordinary.com to check that out. And I would definitely take you up on the special price before September. And, it is worth more than what you pay. It's like, you know, some of the people in the chat, they're just sharing their experiences that have already joined. You know, it's part of being in the community. It's the friendships that grow from that. It's, you know, being seen in a time where we've gone through like a lot of isolation and really coming together as community and co-creation. And, you know, what's really valuable as well is getting, you know, sometimes we just want one question answered, and, you know, getting to come on to things like this and having that question answered, and knowing you and the level of integrity and depth that you go to with answering those can just be priceless for people's membership. Even if they turn up to one call and receive a transmission and get to ask a question, like it's worth its weight in gold to just have that more deeper access to you. So definitely check out the membership. I know John personally, and the amount of time and energy and commitment and focus he's put into developing this platform to be an extension of Beyond the Ordinary, but an extension of getting to work with him in that one-on-one capacity, but with an you know, digestible price. So definitely check it out, and I think that you will all really enjoy diving in deeper with him in that way, you know.
Oh, we'll have fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Are you up for a couple more questions?
Yeah, let's take a couple more questions.
Amazing. Okay, so let's go to Pajana. She's been waiting patiently. As I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so if you just unmute yourself. Hey,
Hi.
how's
Hi,
it going?
it's good to see you, Zoe.
Good to see you. What's your question for John today?
My physical body has been going through so much for quite a few years, and it just seems as though it's escalating, and sometimes I do not know what to do, because I can't imagine dealing with any more at this point. And now the latest thing that's happened, it's assaulting my body. It's not happening inside my body, but my apartment has been taken over by little black bugs. They're in my bed, they're everywhere. And I'm wondering if John has some insight in terms of, you know, maybe the physical and emotional stuff. What are the bugs doing here?
That's really interesting. Have you had your bacteria checked in your gut?
Only through stool sample.
Okay, what were the results on that?
I had H. pylori and Giardia that showed up.
Mm-hmm. And did you treat it?
I started out treating it, but I'm so sensitive to almost everything, I had to stop.
It's funny because the first thing you said about the bugs, they were, for me, a mirror of what was happening in your gut. I got the chills. I just got the chills, and that's the total confirmation. Get it checked out. If you want to email me at send it john@beyondtheordinaryshow.com. And I want to send you a recommendation for the doctor that I mentioned earlier on the call. And they'll provide, the ingredients, what'll be provided will really be suitable so that so it doesn't affect your sensitivities. It works with your sensitivities instead. And it's really important, but intuitively, I mean, immediately I got the mirror of those bugs being the bacteria running in your gut. And by accommodating this, your body will be able to relax more. If there's any other issues that are coming up, you'll be able to see them more clearly. But this level of issue that you're having has to be dealt with first, it seems like. And when he checks, he'll not only check that, but there's a lot of other things, including environmental, like EMF influences. How EMF is affecting us will come up through a test. And so we know what sensitivities we have also, because I have a feeling you may be sensitive to EMF as well. And there's things that we can do to help with EMF, including some amazing supplements that can help hardwire into your internet service instead of using Wi-Fi. Don't talk on the phone. They're actually hollow headphones, hollow copper headphones that you can buy that are long corded, that the the radiation from your phone can't carry through those copper wires in the way that they are. And so if you use those to talk on your phone or to listen to things, will help you also with the exposure from EMF, and also maybe help reduce some of the inflammation. Do you get headaches as well a little bit? Because I'm starting to get a little bit like a pounding in my head. So I'm wondering
Same.
if headaches are
I
coming.
do. I do. I didn't used to get headaches very often, but since I haven't been able to sleep in my bed now for a couple of months, I've been having a lot more headaches.
Yeah. It could be the position where you're in and all that, but it's, again, the EMF is something to pay attention to. And again, nothing to be desperate about, because, oh, okay, information, thank you. And let me go ahead and do those things to take care of myself. Zoe and I were on the call earlier during our pre-call, and we were both in situations where things were prolonging, that were creating this resistance, that were creating a little bit of anxiety, that were creating a little bit of separation, that were creating a little bit, it's like, and then when we dealt with it, it's like, why didn't I deal with that a long time ago? Why didn't I just like do that? And when we do, when we pay that bill that we've been putting off, when we have that conversation that we've been putting off, when we let go of that thing that we know that we've been having to let go of, but we haven't yet, and we finally do, it's like, why did I wait so long? Why did I wait so long? So take care of that beautiful stomach of yours. Right into support. I'll give you the information for that doctor. He's amazing.
Great, because I've been looking for a practitioner who can support my sensitivities.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and that's very wise of you. Very wise of you. So congratulations on following that knowing, and not just giving in the desperation that somehow you'll like throw the dart in the dark and have it land in the bullseye. You've really been guided well in different ways, but I want you to be guided better. So let's start listening and taking action, because that's the times that we're in right now. It's times, okay, we have an awareness, now we need to do. We have an awareness, now we need to do. We're not going to know what's happening a month from now, but we could know what's happening tomorrow because we didn't take action today.
Right.
And we'll be giving each step one step at a time, rather than steps 1 through 10 all at once, because you and I all want to get to step 9 before we get to step 3.
It's true, but I don't do well if I have a long list of steps. So one at a time really works better for me anyway.
I love it. Oh, blessings for you. And then have a conversation with those bugs and say, you know what? You can't live here anymore.
I have done, but now they're reproducing again. So I don't think the message got through.
I'll send you support in that. Maybe have another conversation. But I think as you start healing this, that mirror of it may be affected as well.
Thank you so much. I wouldn't have put that together. As intuitive as I am, I don't think I would have put those two together, the bugs and the bugs.
Yeah, well, sometimes we can't always have the answers, right? And so that's why community is so beautiful. So wonderful to see you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Han. Beautiful. Gosh, you've been diving into so many incredible questions, and
and people aren't raising their hands, so I can go deep. This is fun.
I love it. I love it. So you've shared so much today, and so much bite-sized information as well. And I know sometimes it can feel overwhelming, right? The spiritual journey and the body and all the things and all the stuff, but it's like really allowing each step to unfold as it needs to, and just really being present to what's here for us, and I really loved what, you diving deeper into some of those questions, because there's a little nugget for all of us, right? And as within, so without, as without, so within, it's all a reflection and a mirror. And it's funny, as you were answering that question and I was seeing the bugs, I was like, oh, there's something going on internal. And then you're like, oh, how's your gut? And I was like, okay, yeah. So there's an alignment there. And what can we, just to kind of start wrapping things up a little bit today, like, how can we best prepare ourselves moving forward for this year? Because 2020 was such a side slap of upside down and inside out, and it's starting to kind of level out a little bit more now. There's still a lot of kind of frustrations in the field, complications, divides, conflicts, but it seems that it's calming a little bit more. And how do you feel we can best prepare ourselves for these next few months that are coming up?
Wow, and that's a great question. It's first we have to realize that we're in a period of languishing, where and this is being talked about a lot actually in the major media. It's like a big topic that's come in, and they're saying that, you know, there used to be the 5 stages of grief. The Ruth Cobbler, oh God, I can't think of her name now. Cobbler-Ross, 5 stages of grief. They're saying there's a 6th stage now, and it really came through COVID, and that's languishing. And that's okay. I had a certain life, and I paused it for the sake of this other thing that came up, and I'm going to weather the storm, which I alluded to a little bit earlier on the call. And there's this part, it's like, well, I don't know how to identify myself anymore. I don't know who I am. I don't resonate as much with the other things, and those things that brought me comfort before don't bring me comfort. I've changed, but I don't know what's coming next. And so knowing that so many of us are going through the same thing. I'm going through that in different ways. And I did well during the COVID lockdowns and the others and keeping my energy, but I'm still affected subconsciously. There's still fears, doubts, worries, other things that come up, even though we held it really well and we had maybe a great attitude about how we were holding space for what was happening, and how we were being in patience and also choosing to receive or have wisdom. But that doesn't exclude that there wasn't something in me that was running in the background that had fear, that didn't know, that wasn't sure, that was frustrated and angry and wanted to rage at the system or at the people posting on social media or whatever it was. But we held it really well. And so we're going through this phase of not knowing. And again, enjoy not knowing. Embrace it as an adventure. It's like, I don't know. I know what I have now. And I know where I am now. What do I have that supports me? Not what don't I have, or what am I afraid I'm not going to have? What do I have right now? What have you invested in this? This you take everywhere. This you take everywhere. Know what you've invested in yourself and that you carry with that you always. Nobody can take that away from you. And if you've never starved before, if you haven't been homeless before, it's probably not going to happen to you now. Our biggest fears. If all the people in your life that you have loved gone away at the same time in your life ever, which I seriously doubt, that's not going to happen. Some people may shift and all that. So these fears that we have are the fears of the way that we create in comfort. And just be comfortable being uncomfortable, knowing that you're redefining, you're evolving. And so this is exciting. And the anxiety, the anguish, the sadness, the uncomfortable feelings that come up, just know that there's support and community to provide a portal to get to the other side of that. And also right now, time is one of the biggest healers for us as well. Time, that thing that we said didn't exist. Let's have gratitude for the pauses in our consciousness to allow this body and these emotions to catch up with the rest of us that's already in this other place. You already know that you're there. We just forget. You already know that you're there, you just forget, and you think that you've lost the way, but I'm telling you, that part of you is not going to abandon you, the part that's coming through. So know that you're there, have trust in that. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the not knowing. Reach out for support when you need it. And there's lots of support. There's so much support in so many different places. And laugh a lot. Laugh at your stuff. When you get into feeling abandoned, laugh like, oh God, I remember when I was 6 years old and that came up. But not from the hurt point of view, but the other side, when you actually felt loved, when someone actually, after that brief period, grabbed you and hugged you and you felt like you belonged again. Because I promise you that happened. I promise you. So let's not get caught up in the trauma of it, even though it's there. Let's give the trauma a way out by showing it that we've always been supported. See, when this happened, this other thing provided. When this other thing happened, this other person showed up. When this other fear that got triggered, I learned how to show up for myself in a way that I couldn't have before. And we start getting into the wisdom within ourselves of those portals, those dimensions that are available to us when we tap into the perspective of the gift that we're stepping into, rather than the sorrows of what might be taken away. Your whole life's going to change. Your perspective is what's going to create your future. The intention that you carry with that perspective is what's going to amplify your ability to manifest what you're desiring within your heart. Merge those together, knowing and trusting that that wants to be gifted to you so badly. You just have to learn how to ask for it. And when you can do that and trust that, get ready. Get ready to be overwhelmed with being received, with being loved, with being supported, being heard, being included. All of it. All of it. That's the time that we're in. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the not knowing. You can't know. You can't. None of us know. We thought we knew. And we created structures around the thinking that we knew, only to find out that we didn't know anything. And we're learning anew. So yeah, enjoy. And tap into the show. Tap in with Zoe. Touch in and living in the extraordinary, in the special offer. Amazing communities to support it all in. And so many more. Again, there's so many great teachers and so many great platforms, and I'm blessed to be able to provide one that's been so beautifully supported for the last 9 years. So thank you.
Thank you so much, John, and everyone just receiving that final transmission today, just really breathing that into your body and into your awareness, and having that almost like as a reminder, the dialogue as we move forward into the rest of this year and this new season. And John, I want to thank you so much for being a guest speaker today on Beyond the Ordinary show. Guys, definitely check out his special offer. As I said, Beyond the Ordinary show /John25, or go to livingintheextraordinary.com. Take advantage of the grandfathered price before it raises, and whatever price it is, you're always going to receive 1,000-fold for what you invest into it, which is connection, community, access to John, to dive in deep with him with questions, lots of times throughout the month to be able to drop in live. If you can join all of it, great. If not, you pick what is in alignment for you. And so thanks, John, for being here today. It's been a true pleasure to have you on the show.
It's my favorite show, yes.
And in parting words to that, just really feeling into the gratitude, everyone, of being here, for showing up, working on yourselves, clearing through those denser timelines, and reaching the light at the end of the tunnel, coming into celebration with that, having a breath, and then going straight back into something again, and knowing that each level of upgrades that we're going through, it's all coming together for the highest available timeline of the collective purposes of humanity. Humanity is waking up, and right now we're on the forefront, we're the forerunners of that experience, and getting to be together in intimate spaces like Beyond the Ordinary show is just beautiful, valid reminders of everything that we're doing on the micro and the macro. So John, thanks so much for being on the show. We hope to have you back on again soon. Guys, check out his special offer.
I think I'll be back in soon. Yeah, it's so wonderful. And also, y'all can find Zoe as well as ZoeDavenport.com. And of course, she's on the show and she has special offers on here. And also, but if you want to work with her, she's extraordinary as well. It's Zoe and I trade with each other and show up for supporting each other and channel for each other and everything else. So it's yeah, it's wonderful to co-create this with you. And again, thank you for facilitating just this opportunity for me to speak from this place. So I love you dearly. I love all of you all dearly. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.